Hi, I'm Mark Mize, and welcome to the inaugural Richland High School Football Coach's Corner Show, sponsored by PES. I'm here alongside Troy Hughes, assistant coach for the Richland High School Raiders and the Richland Middle School Raiders. Troy, it's great to have you here.
Thanks, Mark.
So overall, the Raiders are 1-1 on the season now after a 50-10 victory over Sale Creek and then a 53-28 loss to Mount Juliet Christian. So just what are your opening thoughts on how the season has gone so far?
Well, so far, I think we're pleased in some regard with the way the season's going. Obviously, week one we opened up with Sale Creek, and conditions were not great. It rained all week, and we went out and played well against the Sale Creek team that was much improved from last year. We done some things that we felt like we could do against them, and overall we were pleased with our efforts against them. As you know, and you've been covering the games this year, we're running a up-tempo, fast-paced style of football. We're trying to play as many kids on offense and defense as we can to keep kids from having to play both ways, and we feel like that's going to give us an advantage during the course of the season. The more kids we can play, the more experience they get. That'll help us during the course of the season in the third and fourth quarters of ball games.
And in Sale Creek, you really seem to see that there in the opener, as Richland actually wasn't able to score until about 15 minutes into the ball game. We're down 3-0, but then rattled off 50 points there in the final 2.5 quarters. Just what do you think that's going to bring to the team as you see the season progresses and as the conditioning for your own team actually even improves as well?
Well, you're exactly right. You know, the first quarter and a half of the Sale Creek ball game was a great ball game, and we knew they were going to be competitive early. We felt like with our conditioning and the pace of the game that we could wear them down, and that's been a struggle for us through camp and through practice, is getting the kids to buy into that, because you don't get the feel for that necessarily in scrimmage games and preseason games, because there's coaching going on during the games and stop and action during the game, so you don't get a full feel of 4 quarters of football. So we've been trying to stress that to the kids during the first 4 or 5 weeks of practice, and they really hadn't been able to visualize it and see it until the Sale Creek game. And like I say, it was a 14-14 ball game, 14-13 ball game, early in the ball game, and then in the second half, once we wore them down, which we felt like we would, we were able to score 35-40 points unanswered against them.
And so talking about the offense this year, more passing than we saw last year. I think you've attempted 25 passes in the first 2 games, but is really once again, focusing on the running game. And of course you have Caleb Briggs, who is probably one of the best running backs in the area for single A high school ball, but you've had some other guys step up as well.
Right. Well, first of all, we'll start with Caleb Briggs. Without a question, all-region running back from last year. When anybody's getting ready, trying to prepare to play Richland, they know who number 2 is. I mean, that is their sole objective, is to stop number 2. And against Sale Creek, we done a pretty good job of getting him the football, and especially in the second half, he was able to break some long runs and score a few touchdowns against them. And that is the focus of our offense, and we've changed our offensive philosophy this year. We've tried to spread it out a little bit, try to throw the ball a little bit to spread the field so that people couldn't put 7, 8, and 9 guys in the box just solely to stop Briggs, and we've had a little success with that, and then obviously last Friday night we struggled in the air attack a little bit, and that's a coach's issue, and we've gotten together and talked about that, and we're going to make some necessary adjustments to the passing game, and hopefully that we can continue to spread people out and at least make them honor our passing attack, so that we can spread the field a little bit, so Briggs will have a better opportunity to run the football. And not only Briggs, Trey Stacy scored a couple of touchdowns the other night. He does a great job of running the football when Briggs comes out, and besides Trey Stacy, we've got Gus McGowan that's kind of a do-it-all kind of guy. He plays some wide receiver, plays safety on defense, but he also runs the football for us.
And then, of course, with the offense having a new quarterback this year in sophomore Braxton Woodard, of course, getting any new player to the position, it's always kind of tough. Has struggled a little bit with inconsistency early, but I think one of the things he seems to have done best is last year had some concerns for the different quarterbacks with taking the snap. This year, I don't think I've seen him miss a single one.
Right. Now, we did have a miscue, and it wasn't quarterback's fault. We had a bad snap to start the game Friday night against Mountain Juliet. And that's unfortunate. It was the first series, and we had a bad snap, kind of put us behind the chains, and we ended up having to punt that series. But you're exactly right. Braxton is a young kid, hasn't played much quarterback at all, sophomore, and he's come in the spring. And Coach Moose made him, says, hey, you're going to be our guy. You're going to play quarterback. And he's accepted that role, and he's came out, and he's worked hard every day to get better. And, what he really lacks is game experience. And, with the preseason scrimmages, we could tell week to week he was getting a little better. But that's still not like playing on Friday nights. And there's still a little nervousness within him on Friday nights. And also we as coaches are maybe asking a little too much of him on Friday nights as far as our passing attack, and we're kind of going to scale that back, and we're going to put in some new routes, some shorter throws, some screens, some slip screens, tunnel screens, things of that nature that are not necessarily throwing the ball, 15, 18, 20 yards down the field. It's throwing it 5, 8 yards down the field, 10 yards down the field, but more high percentage throws to get the ball in some playmakers' hands on the edges, and and hopefully that will prevent people from putting 8 in the box. If we can continue to complete those passes around the perimeter and keep people out of the box, then we'll have a better chance of running football in the middle and the inside interior.
And then looking at the offensive line this year, in the first game against Sale Creek, you rushed for over 400 yards, still rushed for about 250 yards against a much larger Mountain Juliet Christian defensive line there and linebackers. So how have you felt about the guys blocking for Briggs and the other running backs, and who are some of the special players there?
Well, up front we've got a lot. We've got several returning guys on the offensive line, and we've got some newcomers. We got Jerry Starnell that started on the offensive line for 2 years and doing a good job. We've got Matthew Ungrew, started on the offensive line for 2 years, and we've kind of switched positions with Ungrew. We had some issues at the center position, and Ungrew was a tackle for us and done a really good job at tackle. But we had to move him to center because obviously if you're not snapping the ball back there and taking care of your snaps, then you're going to have issues. So we had to move him to center. We've got Caleb Garrett, his second-year starter that plays offensive guard, and then we've got 2 new guys. Hunter Gillespie's playing left tackle, which is a sophomore, and it's his first go-around at starting on Friday nights, and he stepped in and doing a fine job at left tackle. And then we've got freshman Caleb Payne, which has good size, just young. He's just young, and he's getting better every week, but we got to continue to get better on the offensive line. And as you mentioned, against Sale Creek, we done a great job of blocking against them. We picked up our guys. We knew our assignments. We done a great job of blocking against them, and it was evident in the score and the long touchdown runs that we had. Against Mount Juliet Christian, it kind of the first half we done a good job. We moved the football against them, but they made some adjustments at halftime, and they pretty much said you're not going to run the football. And they put 8 guys in the box, and we've got, it comes down to simple math. We've got 5 offensive linemen. They've got 8 guys in the box, and 5's not going to block 8. And, we weren't able to get on the perimeter. Offensively, line-wise, we were picking up guys for the most part. We just had 3 guys that were unblocked, and when you got 3 guys their caliber that are unblocked, they're going to make tackles, and that's what happened.
And then defensively, running that 3-3-5 this year, but you see a lot of run blitzes. Whenever it is an obvious passing situation, you see some pass blitzes there. Just how have you felt about how the defense has played and just the improvement you've seen over the last 2 years? Because 2 years ago, Richland football really wasn't tackling quite as well as they do these days. You're seeing a lot more effective tackling, I think.
Well, we'll go back to week 1 with Sale Creek. We felt like we tackled pretty well. There's not a question. Coach Murphy does the defense, and he does as good a job as anybody. We've had kids in the right position. We've schemed up. There's been situations where we knew what Sale Creek was going to run, and for the most part knew when they were going to try to run it, and we had the guys in the right position, and for whatever reason, week one, we done a pretty good job of tackling. Now, it may have had something to do with who was blocking us and who was running the football, but we felt pretty good about our defensive effort against Sale Creek. Last week against Mount Juliet Christian, I don't know that we've made a tackle yet. Anytime somebody puts up 53 points on you, you can't feel good about your defensive effort. And we didn't play very well defensively against Mount Juliet Christian. Now, with that being said, they were quite a bit better than Sale Creek up front. They had some linemen that were pretty good, and obviously they had a running back that was, and to be honest, he was their backup running back. Their starting running back didn't play due to an injury, so it was their backup running back, and he was a pretty nice backup running back. We didn't tackle him, and a lot of that was on us, but at the same time, he was a good enough running back that if you missed a tackle or two, he was going to carry it 50, 60, 70 yards for a touchdown.
And of course, you're referring to Darius Heilich. Actually had 347 yards and 8 touchdowns. A really, really strong runner, it looked like. Just a powerful runner as well, as you said,
right,
having that speed. So just overall, who are some of the key players on defense that you're looking at this year to lead this team?
Well, defensively up front, Matthew Russell. Matthew Russell is playing the nose guard position for us, and he's undersized to be a nose guard or a defensive lineman in general. But, Matthew's going to get in there, and he's going to give you 100% every snap, and he does a fine job. He plays with technique. He knows his gap responsibility, and he does a fine job on the interior line for us there on defense. Now, linebackers, on the inside, we've had Dan Hinkle, which is a converted defensive lineman. We moved him to linebacker, and he plays the Mike linebacker, and he's doing a good job there. Eric Young also plays an inside linebacker. When we're in the 3-4, we'll have 4 linebackers. Eric Young plays the other inside backer, as I mentioned, and then on the outsides, we kind of rotate around between William Houston, playing outside linebacker, Jace Urwich, playing outside linebacker, and Austin Watson will play an outside linebacker. And then in the secondary, our 2 safeties are Gus McGowan and Jimmy Hickman, and at the corner positions we've got Austin Thomas and Jake Norman.
And then, of course, looking at special teams, you have a new punter this year in Latrell Daly and a new kicker in freshman Jace Urwich. And Urwich actually was 4 for 4 on extra points in the Mountain Juliet Christian game. I don't know when the last time I've seen that for Richland High School.
Well, we've struggled all preseason with kicking. Having a kicker is important, and since I've been at Richland, I can't remember being consistent on extra points or even field goals. And we struggled all preseason with trying to find kickers who can kick, and actually Jace Urwich was our long snapper, and a really good long snapper for punts and extra points. And up until about a week ago, he never had mentioned anything about kicking the football. And just one day we were out here at pre-practice, and he said something to Coach Moose about well, I played soccer for 11 years. I might be able to kick it. And we put him back there and let him start kicking, and he's made several 40-yard field goals in practice, and he's turned out that he's going to be a valuable for us in that department. If we can not only make every extra point, but if we can get inside the 15 and stall out, that we feel pretty good about getting 3 points out of the drive.
And then finally, your returners, you have Caleb Briggs and Gus McGowan back there with Trey Stacy. Some of the guys who run the ball on offense have been back for returning the ball, and even saw Latrell Daly have a long return in the Mount Juliet Christian game. Right.
And we try to do that. We've got a mixture of guys we put back there. Some of them play defense, so if they're gassed, then we'll put Briggs back there to return, Trey Stacy back there to return. We feel like that's important to us, getting good field position. Pretty much in single A football, most people are not going to kick the ball in the end zone. They're going to kick it short of the end zone, which gives you an opportunity to return the football. So we want to put some of our better guys back there, and if we can get the ball out to the 35, 40, 45-yard line, we feel good about our starting position. And you like to try to give those guys some rest from time to time, but in crucial situations, we feel like we need to have them on the field.
And we'll be back after a quick break here on the Richland High School Football Coaches Corner Show, sponsored by PES.
Here at First Baptist Pulaski, we are not perfect people. To perhaps consider, this is terrible. Start that again. You're going to delete all these, right? Don't keep these.
Fellowship's the word I was looking for. Doofus. Yeah, you put that in the reel.
And this is still rolling. Oh, for the outtakes.
But we would love for you to join us in worshiping a perfect God. Hashtag struggle, right?
I've got my closest friends over to watch the game on cable. Did you know you can advertise your local business during this cable program? Via Media represents the advertising for your cable system. They could put a TV commercial for you right here on this system during this show. Let Via Media help you. Call Via Media today or viamediatv.com.
And we're back here with the Richland High School Football Coaches Corner Show, sponsored by PES. I'm Mark Mize here alongside Troy Hughes, assistant coach for the Richland High School and the Richland Middle School Raiders. And so, Troy, now we've talked about the players. Now it's potentially time to talk a little bit about the coaches. You obviously have had a long tenure, the longest tenure of any active coach at all of Richland High School. And so just give us a little bit about your coaching background and some of the other coaches on this year's staff.
Well, Mark, I started here in 2004. I came from Mount Pleasant High School, where I was a baseball coach, and I've been here since 2004 and been involved with football at some capacity since 2004, and been the head baseball coach here at Richland since 2004, which is a full-time job, and trying to do both, but I managed to work it into my schedule and do the best I can with those.
And just looking at some of the staff that you have on this year, including, of course, head coach Joe Moose, but the other guys who make it happen every week as well.
Well, obviously we got head coach Joe Moose, and the defensive coordinator with the high school is Coach Murphy from Marshall County. Played at Tennessee State University, and he's got a lot of football knowledge, and he's been good for the program the past 3 years. Also on staff, newcomer to the staff this year is I want to say a 2007 graduate from Richland High School, Mike Holt. Mike graduated, went to Austin Peay University, where he got his degree in education, and he's been at several different schools over the past 5 or 6 years. Been at Harpeth Middle School, Harpeth High School, and just most recently came from Rossview High School in Clarksville. And was looking for a change. He wanted to come back to this area, so Mike's come back to this area and is helping the football program now. And actually Mike's taken over, and he's the head middle school football coach now, and also helping with the secondary with the high school, and helping on Friday nights as well.
All right, and you had some assistants, volunteer assistants this year as well.
Right, we do have some volunteer assistants. Coach Jack Adams is a volunteer that's been with Coach Moose for several years, and he does the offensive line. Chris Spivey, another graduate of Richland High School in 2007, served our country. Been in the military, I believe, for the last 8 years, and he's back now and getting his education, and he wanted to come back and give back to the program and help out, so he's doing some volunteer coaching with us, and he's working with the kickers and the defensive line. And also Kevin Douthit, which is another graduate of Richland High School, is helping out with the middle school and spending some time with them.
And of course, you never admit it, but you actually had a head coaching season at Richland High School, where you actually may have set the Richland High School scoring record against Cornersville that year with 62 points in a rivalry victory.
Right. That's been a few years ago. I stepped in and filled in for 1 year, and as my head coaching tenure here at Richland, and we won 2 games that year, which we fell way short of what we were expecting to do, anticipating. But I guess if I can toot my own horn a little bit, that year we upset the 5th-ranked team in the state, which was Columbia Academy, and I believe that's the game we scored 63 points. And then that was week 5, and then week 10 that year we beat a playoff-bound Cornersville team. during my tenure being here at Richland, if you can beat, not that the season was a success, but if you can beat Columbia Academy and Cornersville, then, you got something you can take away and feel positive about, at the end of the season.
And another really exciting thing that has come to Richland the last couple of years is the Richland Junior Pro Raiders, which is a team that now plays a form of Pee Wee football. So the middle school now has players coming in that already have football experience, which is something that I've heard Richland hasn't always had in the past.
Right, absolutely. And that makes a ton of difference. Will Sands has started the Junior Pro League here in Linville or at Richland, and I want to say they've got a Division I, Division II, Division III, and maybe even a flag football division. So it's anywhere from 5 years at 5 years of age up to 12, 13 years of age. That they're able to play on Saturdays, and they're up here every day practicing, and that's important for your football program, to get some kids in when you get them in the 7th and 8th grade for middle school football, that they've already got some prior football knowledge, and that always helps. We'll take kids that have never played before, obviously, but it makes a big difference when you get kids that have got 2 or 3 years of football experience under their belt.
And so finally, looking forward, we have a bye week this week, of course,
Correct.
for the Richland High School football team. But then you'll be playing the first of 8 consecutive region games to end the season when you host Huntland on September the 9th. And so just what are your opening thoughts about Huntland and what you'll be seeing there from the Hornets?
Well, first of all, September the 9th, we got a bye week this week. Then we come back and play at home on September the 9th, really look forward to getting back home. We had a really nice crowd against Sales Creek, and I want to encourage everybody to come out and support these young men. They've been working hard for the past 5 or 6 weeks, and not only that, they worked hard all summer in the weight room and during the spring as well. So, if it's any way possible you can find a way to get out and support these young men, it really means a lot to them. Looking forward to Huntland. We obviously have 2 weeks to prepare for them. We scrimmaged Huntland in the spring, and had a lot of success against Huntland in the spring. And I know it's a spring game, and some folks take it more serious than others. And we went out in the spring. Of course, I was in baseball, but I had the opportunity to talk to Coach Moose and watch practice a little bit. And we really worked hard as a football program in the spring, and went up and had a lot of success against Huntland in the spring. Now we've seen film on Huntland through the first 2 weeks of the season, and they're greatly improved from what they were in the spring. So we've got our work cut out for us. Huntland is going to be a tough opponent. Like I said, they're greatly improved from what they were in the spring. They've got a running back that is a Division I commit to Wake Forest. He's going to be a tough task to stop. I mean, he's a great running back. Obviously, if you sign a Division I scholarship to go to Wake Forest, you're pretty good. And they do a good job of getting him the football. They run the wing tee, so it's some misdirection. But ultimately, he's the guy that we've got to be prepared to stop on Friday night.
I'm Mark Mize once again saying thank you for tuning in this week to the Richland High School Football Coaches Corner Show, sponsored by PES.